Just look at those lines. This is what Costco looked like today. Our photojournalist Roger Hatcher was out at the Spokane Valley Costco just earlier, a couple hours ago, really.
And this is what it looks like inside the store. We're going to go inside in just a moment or two. We're being told that many of the higher shelves were empty, but Roger said most items seem to be still in stock. So we're not going to go inside, but this is obviously what many stores across the country are looking like right now. By the way, store officials are asking customers to avoid overstocking on supplies and make sure to save some stuff for your neighbors. And also remember, there is no supply chain shortage. Stores are getting new shipments almost daily. No need to panic shop. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. We have a lot to get to tonight, so let's get started. We have breaking news. Governor Jay Inslee has announced a 30-day statewide ban on evictions. That's going to again go for the next 30 days at least. He announced new policies today to help workers and businesses impacted by coronavirus.
Residential landlords will be prohibited from serving a notice for default payment of rent. Residential landlords would be prohibited under this order from issuing a 20-day notice unless the landlord can show that action would be necessary for the health and safety of the tenant or other individuals.
So Governor Jay Inslee also waiving the 1-week period before people can access unemployment insurance. He said this is to make sure we can get money to those people who are unemployed as soon as possible.
And the governor is also expanding Family Emergency Assistance Program, expanding it to families without children. He is calling on utility companies to suspend shut-off, waive late fees for customers who are out of work. Many utility companies in Washington have already complied with this.
Meanwhile, the VA hospital in Spokane is now ready to begin testing veterans for the coronavirus. Right now, they're focusing on current patients, we're told, in the hospital. But veterans who are showing symptoms out in the community can call the VA right now to find out how they can be tested.
One of Spokane's most popular events is being postponed. Bloomsday. Wow. But don't worry, the event isn't going away completely, just rescheduling for later this year.
And speaking of recent closures, many restaurants across the Inland Northwest are now being forced to find new ways to survive without their usual crowds.
And new at 4 o'clock, a fifth person is now tested positive for coronavirus here in Spokane County. The Washington Department of Health is reporting 1,187 positive cases throughout the state. At last check, these totals do not reflect the fifth case that was just reported here in Spokane. The death toll statewide now has gone up to 66. In the meantime, though, nearly 16,000 people in Washington have tested negative. And here's a new tool that you can use at home as well. This is a map that shows the number of cases in each county in Washington. You can find the new feature at KREM.com.
Just across the state line, the Idaho Department of Health is reporting there are now 9 cases in that state. All cases right now still in southern Idaho, and there are still no confirmed cases in North Idaho.
Idaho Governor Brad Little held a press conference today on how schools will respond to the coronavirus. He says school closures will be left up to individual districts.
So the governor made it very clear he is not mandating school closures across the state. As of right now, he is also not mandating that businesses close their doors. However, he did suggest that people work from home and avoid groups of 10 or more as much as possible.
I know this situation is very hard on a lot of Idahoans. I urge us all to think about each other right now. If your neighbor is a vulnerable part of the vulnerable population, ask them how you can help.
Schools across the state line in Washington are closed through the end of April. Several businesses are also closed for the next 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, coronavirus testing now available, as we said, for veterans at the VA Medical Center in Spokane.
Our Regina Ahn joins us now to explain how these testings are working.
Well, older adults are among the populations who are most at risk for developing complications from the coronavirus, and many times military veterans fall into that category. So now the VA Medical Center in Spokane is offering testing for veteran patients. The center is taking samples on site and sending them to Quest laboratories for processing. To minimize the risk for employees and veterans, the VA is pre-screening everyone who enters the building. If you are a veteran experiencing symptoms today, they advise you to call call your healthcare provider first. The center is working closely with the CDC and the Washington Health Department. The medical center is operating from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. For more information, head to our website, KREM.com. Live in the newsroom, Regina On, back to you.
Thank you very much, Regina. We also want to quickly pass along a quick note that Airway Heights Wellness Clinic was hoping to get up and running today, but not quite ready yet. Right now, the clinic is still working on gathering supplies. Once opened, this mobile urgent care service is going to provide medical screening for anyone who lives out there in the West Plains. It's a standalone clinic that will be located at the former community center, and you can see right there, the address is on West 13th Avenue. They will also be providing on-site flu testing. That clinic is expected to open Friday now at the earliest, but if you are still planning to visit, make sure to bring your ID and your medical insurance card. Also today, the U.S. has closed its northern border with Canada. It was a mutual decision between both countries, and it's only going to affect non-essential travel. Right now, it's unclear exactly how long that closure will remain in place.
Essential travel. This does not include essential travel or the transit of goods, but it was through mutual discussion that took place this morning between the President and Prime Minister Trudeau, and the Department of Homeland Security will be effectuating that decision.
The president has also invoked the Defense Production Act, and that is what will speed up production for medical supplies and equipment. Right now, the country lacks a sufficient number of ventilators, masks, and other critical items needed to meet our growing demand.
And cash is on the way. The U.S. Treasury Department is proposing sending $1,000 to $2,000 to millions of Americans for a combined total of $500 billion. The Associated Press reports the government wants to send out the first round of checks on April 6th. The Treasury plan, Treasury plan, though, still needs approval from Congress. Now, under the plan, checks are based on income level and family size. Senator Chuck Schumer thinks the president needs to take more action.
This is not a time for small measures. This is a time to be bold, to be aggressive. A single $1,000 check would help someone pay their landlord in March. But what happens after that?
Well, the plan also includes $50 billion bailout for the airline industry. $150 billion will be issued to loan guarantees to struggling sectors, and $300 billion for small businesses. Well, today the White House Coronavirus Task Force gave another update for homeowners and renters, this coming from the federal housing. President Donald Trump announced that the Department of Housing and Urban Development is suspending all foreclosures and evictions. This is expected to take effect now until the end of April.
Well, we are seeing more and more closures across the inland Northwest because of the coronavirus. Businesses having to readjust, many forced to just cancel their plans. So we want to give you a kind of a breakdown now of the recent closures just within the last few hours. So one of Spokane's most popular events we now know is being postponed. We're talking about Bloomsday. It will now take place on September 20th. It was set for May 3rd. So here's what you need to know about this event and the change. The March and Junior Bloomsday are postponed as well. Entries for the May Bloomsday will carry over to the new date. And if participants cannot make the new September date, their entry will be valid for Bloomsday of 2021. Registration is already open for the September 20th event. You can find that link on our website. Just go to KREM.com.
I needed more time to train.
Right?
Well, the Catholic Diocese of Spokane is suspending Mass until April 6th. That's all in response, of course, to the coronavirus outbreak. The diocese is also taking several other steps to limit social contact, like live streaming Mass and limiting funeral services to graveside ceremonies.
And a couple of ski resort closures to look out for. Silver Mountain has made the decision today to close its resort. They posted that announcement on Facebook today saying the park will be closed for the rest of the 2020 season. And Schweitzer Mountain Resort also joined the list of closures by announcing they will be closing lift operations and all winter activities by the end of today. I think a lot of people kind of disappointed to hear that news. People were hoping that it was a chance to still get outside, enjoy what could have been really beautiful ski conditions.
Spring skiing would They've been just outstanding. They had a great snowpack going on up there. I was up there 2 weeks ago, and it was just absolutely fabulous. So it's too bad that had to happen, but everyone's making tough decisions right now for the common good. So we applaud them, and we'll be at the resorts next year, no doubt about that. That's tough on them. Should we do a little bit of weather right here? Okay, follow me over here if you will. It's the last day of winter, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about spring arriving tomorrow. We talk about astronomical spring. The vernal equinox arrives on Thursday. That's when the daylight hours will actually outnumber the nighttime hours. As you can see from the satellite and radar picture, we're looking pretty good. Clear skies. We'll look for mostly clear skies continuing through the overnight hours into tomorrow. 27 the expected overnight low. 52 should be the high on the first day of spring. On Thursday, we check your weekend weather. Look at that. 56 degrees on Saturday. 54 expected on Sunday. We've got some rain in the forecast, though, for early next week. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
A good excuse to get outside. I like that,
You
Tom.
bet.
All right, restaurants right now adapting all across the state. There's a social ban in place, we know, but for one local business, it's a lot more than just turning a profit. This is an effort to help support local communities.
On a normal day, the grain shed would look like this, full of people relaxing, listening to music, and of course, eating bread. But today, there's nobody here.
Bars, restaurants were being closed down for everything but takeout and delivery.
Meaning their restaurant is empty and could stay that way for a while.
It's kind of shock and awe.
But their team still comes in every morning to make bread and get food ready for takeout.
Wednesday will still be vegetarian dinner. Thursday will be meatballs with marinara. Friday will be pork loin.
And the list goes on.
We've been so well served by our neighborhood, by our community. We want to be able to provide meals that are affordable for families, really.
Which is why a lot of people are actually turning to local businesses like this one, especially when they're seeing empty shelves at some of the big chain stores. On their first day doing just takeout, they actually did pretty well.
We actually saw a lot of large bread purchases in the morning.
And it's that type of business that keeps them and other local businesses afloat in this confusing time.
We're all paid based on bringing people to our locations for the most part. So without that, it's a really challenging thing to even process and plan for.
But no matter how much planning they do, it's customers that will keep them going.
Everybody's just kind of dumbfounded with this.
In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
So right now, takeout and delivery services are available at a lot of places. A lot of different businesses are seeing an impact. So we are encouraging you to just shop local and support them as much as you can. We've got a whole list of Spokane area restaurants right now that are offering to-go and delivery services. You can text the word takeout, one word, takeout, to 448-2000 and we'll send you that list. It's growing every day.
And may I just say, I've already done that.
Yes.
And I have the list.
I know.
And it's kind of like my mission is to patronize these places.
Yes, one at a time. We'll get through it all.
you bet.
Absolutely.